Will Macklin Celebrini and or Connor Bedard make Canada's Olympic team? Hey everyone, welcome into Off the Post. Rob Wong, joined as always by Steve Simmons, Bruce Garrioch, and Patrick Johnston. And guys, we spoke about these two players a couple of weeks ago, and all they've done since is go on to be top four in scoring in the NHL. And everyone is now wondering how likely it is that they're going to Milano-Cortina in February to put on the Maple Leaf for Team Canada. Steve, we'll start with you. If you're Doug Armstrong, are you taking one, none, or both?
I'm taking both, but I want to start with Celebrini because he, to me, is like for sure. And there are 4 players in hockey history who have scored 30 points in their first 20 NHL games. Their names are Wayne Gretzky, Mario Lemieux, Sidney Crosby, and Macklin Celebrini. We're not talking about just another guy with points. We're talking about potentially the next one, and maybe the next one who's already here. And so your Doug Armstrong's job, and he said this to all the guys that went to training camp, show me what you can do. I want to see your first 3 months. You prove to me you belong on Team Canada. And guess what? Macklin Celebrini is absolutely, without question, proven he belongs on Team Canada. And I think so has Connor Bedard, who's top 4 in scoring right now and has just been on fire after something of a slow start.
I would have told you 2 weeks ago that Macklin Celebrini was absolutely on the radar, and of course still is, partly because of all the things Steve just said, because he's doing things that are with very few precedents. This is a kid that can score. He can also play in his own end. Obviously, playing for a terrible team in San Jose, that can be hard to spot. But he is a player that knows all facets of the game. Connor Bedard's first 2 seasons in the NHL were sometimes a struggle. But he has kicked it up a notch this year. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And the scoring is there. We always knew the scoring was there. It's the play away from the puck, and he has made a connection. Clearly, Jeff Blashill has made a difference for that team overall. It's not just Bedard. The whole team is playing better. But without a doubt, Celebrini, I would not be shocked to see him on that list. Bedard, the way he's playing, he certainly is making a case for himself. There's absolutely no doubt about that.
I find it interesting because I think we all, as a trio, believe that Celebrini is a lock because of the way he's playing. But I also think he's a lock because he went to the World Championship last year. And, we know how this management thinks, guys. This management thinks that I know that Brady Tkachuk went to the World Championship last year, or was it last year or the year before? Anyway, he went because basically he was told if he didn't go, he probably was hurting his chances of being on the U.S. Olympic team. I would think that Celebrini went because he wanted to help his chances of being on the Canadian Olympic team. The Western Canadian, I believe his name is Bedard from your hometown, Patrick.
Well, they both are, but
took a pass on going to the Olympics. And I quite frankly think that's going to hurt his standing when push comes to shove here. Now, Steve's getting mad as hell right now, and I know he is, because it shouldn't. But Steve, I think it will. But go ahead, because I know you want to say.
No, I'm not getting mad at all. I think this is really getting interesting. I mean, it's always interesting.
Yeah. It always is. Because we're going to debate it like crazy when they do name it. But go ahead.
We love to sit home and be GM. We all do.
Yeah.
The whole country does. We love to do this. I have 5 guys, the 2 kids and 3 others that I think have played their way onto the Olympic team. Now the question becomes, from the 8 or so, questionable guys who were on the 4 Nations team, who's nervous right now? Because I think Suzuki from the Montreal Canadiens has to be on Team Canada.
Yes, absolutely.
I think Tom Wilson has to be on Team Canada. Some people will argue, and I'm not sure I'm in the group, that Mark Scheifele has to be on Team Canada. Now you add the 2 young guys. That's 5 players to 5 forwards to a roster where you only have 1 more forward from the 4 Nations team. So you have 1 additional forward in going to Milan. So is it Hagel? Is it Cirelli? Is it Jarvis? Is it Konechny? Is it Bennett? Like Sanheim, Doughty? Who's nervous right now that they're not going to be picked for this Olympic team, and everybody wants to go.
Can this may be wrong on my part, Patrick, but they cannot take back Braden Point's invitation, right? Unless he somehow becomes like day to day just before the Olympics. Is that?
I mean, he's a kid. Like it's hard. Do you want to bet against him? I guess is what you're asking here, Bruce. Like, are you going to bet against having him on?
How many points does he got right now? Like, isn't he?
You know what? Elias Pettersson told me this morning that points don't matter. It's about how you're playing. So there you go, Bruce. Take that.
He's got like 10.
Yeah.
Oh, is he up to 10 now?
I think he might be up to 10. I don't think when you're one of the 6 named, and he was one of the 6, and he's a John Cooper guy.
But didn't we sit here 2 weeks ago and go, "Oh my God, like what's he doing here?"
He's up to 11. Yeah.
Of course. But John Cooper,
because that's what we do, Rob. By the way.
John Cooper is like most coaches on winning teams, although they haven't been necessarily winning that much this year.
Yeah.
He falls in love with his great players.
Yeah.
Whether it's Braden Point, whether it's Cirelli, whether it's Hagel, whether it's Kucherov, whoever it is.
Yeah.
He falls in love with all those guys. And he wants his guys on the team. He wants his boys there. But I think right now Point is in because he was one of the first 6 picked. So I think those guys have to be in by IHF rules or whatever the rules were.
Yeah.
He could be the 14th forward too.
Okay.
You know,
I mean, that's the thing, isn't it, Steve? Yeah.
You're going to dress 13 forwards. The 14th guy isn't going to dress. And so you got to ask yourself, who do you want that 14th guy to be? Do you want him to be a young guy like Bedard, who you're not sure you're going to put in your top 12, but maybe you want him there? And maybe he's your 14th, or do you want it to be I'm not doing this as a Toronto person now. Do you want it to be a John Tavares-like guy that if you give him the 14th spot, or a Marchand, that they're just going to be good guys, and they're going to come along. They're not going to cause a fuss. They're not going to be PK Subban if they don't get to play.
I'm not, to be honest, I'm not worried about Braden Point. Like, he has been such a consistent performer. Yeah, he's had a poor start to the season, but he's a guy that, in the end, he finds a way to score. And exactly as Steve said, I mean, there's going to be someone on this roster who's going to be that extra guy. And he's not a terrible choice to have as your fourth. If you're looking for sort of a plug and play type player, obviously we know he's got the high end skill, but he's a two-way guy. He will do the job, whatever the role that gets handed to him.
He also looked like he kind of fit with McDavid.
Yeah.
And so you need people to fit with McDavid. And, I presume, barring, the world changing and everything going crazy, that Zach Hyman won't be on the Olympic team. So you're going to need people, whether it's Reinhart, who's also not having a very good year, Reinhart or Point or whoever.
Yeah.
And I saw somebody did a lineup today. One of the people online made a lineup that had McDavid centering Bedard and Celebrini.
Yeah, I love it.
And I thought, that's kind of fun.
One of the things that you're not going to do is let that British guy did during the pandemic, are you, right now, and push your kid out of the way, are you, Patrick?
No, just people busy in the press box here,
Oh, that you're in a press box. Wow.
Yeah.
We'll push that person
this
out of the way.
This is our media workspace.
But I just wonder, like, if you look at what happened in 2006, Steve, they rolled back with the same management team that they had in 2002. I think and I think Gretzky was there too, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So one of my concerns is they're rolling back with the same management team from the Four Nations. Is that management team going to feel compelled to bring a lot of the guys they had at Four Nations? That's my only question.
Well, Pat Quinn and company made that big mistake in Italy once before. They brought that whole team back together, and they shouldn't have. And they weren't ready to play. And I think right now, if you,
they couldn't score.
I really like Doug Armstrong. I don't know how you guys. I'm a big Doug Armstrong guy, despite the fact the St. Louis Blues stink. I like the fact that he said to these guys, Show me.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to make a decision. You guys make the decisions. And Celebrini's made that decision. And I think Bedard has made that decision. And Suzuki's made that decision. Now it's a question of whose spots do they put in, and where does John Cooper come into all this? I mean, how does he fit? And which guys does he want in what spots? And I thought at the beginning of the year they were going to have a real problem with Marchand, because I didn't expect Marchand to have the kind of year he's having. And I thought, he's going to be one of these guys you're going to put in there, and maybe he won't fit, maybe he will. But I think he makes it now based on just being a good enough player to be there.
Yeah. Captain Canada element, right? Like he clearly has a case to be there. It is an interesting challenge. It's been a fun one just sitting back saying, okay, who might be there, who might not be there. I mean, we've already mentioned Seth Jarvis. I mean, I saw Seth Jarvis play on Friday. Like, the guy can play. We still know that.
By the way, who won the Conn Smythe Trophy? Remember him? Remember the playoffs last year? What was his name? Sam Bennett? Not having much. Not having much of a year, right?
Yeah.
So you want to go to Italy with Sam Bennett wearing the Canadian colors? I sure do.
There's certain picks, and this comes back to the first two players we're talking about. The question becomes, will you have regrets not picking this guy? And I think you'll have regrets not picking Macklin Celebrini. I'm not convinced there yet with Connor Bedard. And, listen, Sam Bennett, are you going to have regrets not picking Sam Bennett? I don't know. I mean, as you said, Conn Smythe Trophy winner. But if you pick Seth Jarvis over him, if you pick Connor Bedard over him, how are you feeling about that choice? I'm not sure right now. Sam Bennett's a guy you're regretting leaving at home, even if he has a case to be there.
You know what they say? Regrets? I've had a few.
Oh my God, Bruce! What a way.
You're going to start singing now.
But then again, too few to mention.
Okay, so let me ask you this: we have a good balance of thought here. Who are your four centers, assuming that Crosby and McKinnon will be playing the wing with the other? So who are your four centers on Team Canada?
Oh, you go first.
No, you go, because
I think it's easy to say McDavid is one.
Yeah,
of
course.
And either it's Crosby and McKinnon is one. Yeah. So who's your three and your four is a better way to put it.
Yeah, it's hard to see Cirelli not being there given who his coach is. And I think this to me is the question where they're at and why we're talking about Celebrini and why we're talking about Bedard, because is it Konechny? Is it Bennett? I haven't solidified. I'm not going to lie. I haven't solidified who that fourth center is going to be. I would not be surprised if it's a guy like Konechny, because look who's coach is, right? It's assistant coach Rick Tocchet. That there's going to be a big belief in that guy for this team. But that's not saying that's going to happen. It's an interesting one. And listen, do you bring Celebrini as your fourth center? That could certainly happen too.
But I guess the question becomes, wouldn't it be easier to put, if you do bring a Bedard or a Celebrini, wouldn't it be easier to put them on the wing?
Sure, absolutely.
Because then they don't have the responsibilities. Sure. And when you mention Konechny, you want a guy who's responsible at both ends of the ice. To be honest, in Ottawa, I kind of look more at the U.S. Olympic team, because Ottawa doesn't really have any Canadian candidates, right? And one of the things I've been looking at is, well, where does Shane Pinto fit in at center on that U.S. team, right? And so
I think he fits in the Dominican Republic for the 3 weeks of vacation.
Really? I think he's up against Trocheck, and Trocheck was hurt for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah,
he's back now, but. You want a younger, more. I guess my point is, you want a younger, more responsible defensive center. Well, there's your guy, and I guess my thing is, in that fourth line role, as you want a responsible guy. You do. I've seen it in Ottawa. I think Lars Eller has kind of transformed their fourth line because he's good at both ends of the ice.
Well, look, I can't say I would have imagined we started talking about Macklin Celebrini and Connor Bedard and somehow ended up talking about Lars Eller. That was not on my bingo card today to finish off this video. But Bruce, you made a good point, referencing 2006, of course. Chris Draper selected on that team over a young 18-year-old Sidney Crosby. So there is some history there, maybe some history to show you what not to do if you're trying to win a gold. But a lot more choices, I would say, this go around for Doug Armstrong and Team Canada to pick for that team in February. We'll see how it shakes out. As always, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. For Patrick Johnston, Bruce Garrioch, Steve Simmons, I'm Rob Wong. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.